Welcome to Engineering Influence, a podcast from the American Council of Engineering Companies. We're coming to you live from our annual convention and legislative summit in Washington, D.C. I'm very pleased to be joined today by Nick Decker, Director of Engineering for Egnyte. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here.
So, if you think about everything happening across the engineering industry, let's talk just a little bit about infrastructure and how companies are managing files. What are you seeing in the industry right now? What kind of changes are we seeing? This is going to be a long-winded question, but I mean, with AI and everything's moving so fast, what's happening? Like, give us a lay of the land.
Yeah, I think a couple trends are happening at once, which is a little bit difficult for firms to move at the speed that they need to adopt everything at once. So those trends in macro are firms are growing and they're growing geographically. So not everyone is in a singular office all day, every day anymore. Right. In addition to that, the work product themselves needs to move at a certain pace and be, keep up with client demands and schedule driven timelines and things like that. So what we're seeing, particularly with our clients in the industry, are moving toward away from on-prem models and everyone needing to be in the office as much as possible,
right,
or only being able to collaborate with your team that's in your regional base. So people are able to, potentially collaborate across the country and pull in talent from the offices as they see fit. When you're talking about a firm that has dozens, if not hundreds, of offices,
mm-hmm.
that's a differentiator for them to pull the best in class, regardless of where that talent is, located.
So before this interview started, we were talking a little bit about the Intuit Dome in LA. So I know you're an Indy guy.
Yep.
Is that a use case? Like, is there a team in Indy? They're in LA. They need access. Is that
totally
to collaborate?
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Particularly on the design side, you'll have folks who are based in the Indianapolis office. The field team doing the CA work is out in LA. You have a number of cross consultants that are working all over from all over North America, and then we have some in particular design offices in London or Asia that are collaborating in off hours.
Okay.
So it really is as the sun goes, so does the requirement for collaboration.
Right.
And so it's fascinating to see that, be able to have that pace of play, given that that wasn't even an option. Like no one even considered that 3-4 years ago.
Right.
So it really has changed in lightning pace as far as the engineering world is concerned.
So is this a workforce? Is an output of workforce, COVID? Is this just the nature of the business kind of shifting?
Yeah, I think, as with anything, COVID was an interesting forcing function. Everyone went home and they go, oh, well, I need my data with me while I'm on the couch at home, just like I was in the office.
Sure.
Or I moved to the country and now I'm on Starlink. Those types of things. And so that, I think people got a little bit more comfortable with it.
Okay.
But at the same time, you do have, this backlog of work that had built up and people needed to work faster. And so it wasn't just a matter of, can I do my work? It's, can I do an extra 30 or 40% of my work in the same amount of hours?
Right.
So that's, I think it was, 5 years on at this point, I think we've now kind of settled into a new normal and people are more comfortable with it.
Right.
The next phase is certainly going to be, how do you apply AI and these other automation tools to, kind of amplify it even further.
To further enhance it. And that's been a big discussion at convention. I mean, AI has been a buzzword. I feel like it's been a buzzword, since for the past 4 years.
Yep.
We're moving lightning fast. And with AI and with the project we were just talking about comes a level of security that I think makes firms nervous, concerned. Maybe it'll keep your security director up at night thinking about, man, what's the next thing I have to face?
Yes.
So the project that has consultants here, and then you have the team on site, they're all tapping in or accessing data that is being shared across the project. So what what does that look like from a security standpoint and protection?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to really understand how the users are going to work within the context of an AI enabled world.
Yes.
To be totally honest, people aren't going to be patient. There's this concept of shadow AI that's floating around where people will essentially download documents or information from a project, and then they'll upload it to some public chat GPT and things like that. And that is when you talk about a security, a chief security officer staying up at night, it's that type of stuff.
Right.
Like my client's data is now training some public model and things like that. So, certainly our stance is, keep your AI deployments private as much as possible. And, we enable that through, not training third-party models and the like. But more broadly, we've heard statistics where something like 80% of the registered users on ChatGPT are conducting essentially like work, and it's not just personal use.
Okay.
And so these emails and things like that are work emails, and so it's that they're using this for work, and their IT team, their security teams have no knowledge of it.
Right.
So it's a difficult thing for them to, as an IT team, you don't want to put the brakes on innovation, but you also can't expose additional risk that wasn't there before.
You don't want to put on the brakes, but you want to put in the guardrails, right?
Correct.
So how is there a case study? Is there more information about how someone can learn more about how to put those guardrails on, keep innovation going, keep productivity up?
Yeah, I think the short of it is ensure that you give your users the tools to do their job, and that includes AI. But in order to have those tools, they need to be privately deployed. And so in that context of cloud computing, that just makes sure that the third-party models are not being trained on your data. That's where a tool like Egnyte can come into play.
Right.
But it's also something where you can also just pay for the corporate license of ChatGPT and basically say, under no purpose can you utilize these responses to train your next LLM and things like that.
Right. It trains internal. It will not train external. Is that
Correct.
Fair
yeah,
statement?
exactly. Train on your company data, and I think that's the important part. That you don't become the product.
Correct. Because we're the customer, right, of those products.
Exactly.
So what else? What else we need to cover here, Nick? I mean, we've talked a lot, right, about using the cloud, security, collaboration amongst these teams. Is there anything we're missing in this puzzle we're piecing together here?
Yeah, I think the other piece that we're seeing a lot of is actually tech consolidation. So we've seen a growth of tools in the industry over the last decade. And there's now a fatigue of I have to go to this tool to do this thing, and I have to go to this tool to do this thing, and I forgot I saved this here. And so the users are coming back to the IT team, this is kind of backwards, and saying, we need less. We need to be able to do our job, but we need to be able to do it from at one place or two places, not 7 or 10 places.
Right.
Which is
risk, right?
Exactly. It's solving multiple things at once, which I'm very excited for. But that tech consolidation is not something I expected to hear from the end users. I expected to hear it from IT. They're like, we want to spend less money. The end users are actually saying we can work faster if we have less stuff that we need to deal with.
Right.
And so that consolidation has been an interesting macro trend as well.
So that consolidation, is that happening now? Are we in that? Is it like this is stage one of a three? Oh, excuse me. There goes the mic. Let me just re-record that. Is that like a stage one of a 3-stage process? Where are we in that journey?
Yeah, I think it's early days. There's more tools popping up all the time, which is kind of slowing the process. You may get rid of one tool and then adopt another.
Right.
So it's a bit of a whack-a-mole, I would say. But in general, in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll see firms that used to have a tech stack that was, hundreds of applications long get down to 20, 30. I think that's ultimately the goal from CIOs that we're talking to.
Okay. And that's good information to have to plan for the future.
Yeah.
Right. So, well, anything else that we need to cover? I think, again, covered a lot, but Nick, I want to give you the last word.
I think I'm an eternal optimist that the engineering industry is on a positive path and things are only going to get better and more efficient and more collaborative.
Right.
And tech is just an enabler. It's a tool within that process. But the industry as a whole is doing a great job on the advocacy and the coming to the table and being more open and excited for the next phase. And we're on board with that 100%.
Well, great. Nick, thank you again for your time. A great conversation. Everybody, thank you to Nick Decker from Egnyte. We'll see you next time.